It's Strangest News of the Week, and we're doing this live. Today is going to be an intense show because in the last week, there's been a lot of UFO news. I mean, I'm pretty surprised the amount of UFO news we've received near the end of the year, and it seems to be consistent. Over the last few years, we're getting like this hustle and bustle of this UFO information right at the end, and then it kind of just stops. It just flatlines, and then it hits back up. Anybody have an answer for that? Before we even get into the news, why is it always near the end of the year, bam, 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 UFO stuff, and then gone? Well, this week is pretty intense. It really is. And I want to say hello to everyone catching this live. We got Sean, Colin, Anthony, Andrew, Number Free, cool name, Matt W, Moon at Noon, Gizmo. So great to see all of you guys here live. This is actually really exciting. So we're going to start off with this first one that really took off originally on Twitter, and then media outlets started catching this. So we're looking at this object right here. It's this mysterious blue spherical object that was reported at the Manchester airport back on November 27th. So just a few days ago. And the event, documented through limited but pretty compelling footage, which I'll share with you in just a moment, shows what appears to be a UFO hovering over mere inches above the airport's landing strip. When I first came across this, I was like, oh my goodness, there are actually so many UFO instances where they have been seen in and around airports. And I'm going to name those to you a little bit later, but let's talk more about this because it only gets more interesting and slightly more suspicious as well. So the object, estimated to be approximately 1 meter in diameter, and others are saying it's about the size of an average car, which is like 4.5 to 5 meters long. And it exhibited several noteworthy characteristics that distinguish it from conventional aircraft or even drones, which seems to be the explanation that we're getting today is, oh, you're seeing drones. It's no longer weather balloons. It's no longer swamp gas. It's no longer Venus. It's you're seeing a drone. When it might not actually be. Here is a more high def image using a little bit of AI thanks to the unidentifieds. So I want to say thank you to them for that. They posted it online. And what we're able to see here is that it's not actually this perfect sphere, but it featured a distinct grid-like pattern on its surface. And this object displayed an unusual blue discoloration around its upper portion and emitted a visual glow while simultaneously casting a shadow. I'm going to play that video for you now. Just give me a moment while I continue on with this, because what's really bizarre about this particular case is that the pilot published it online, and then after it got a little bit of traction, he deleted his Twitter entirely. That's bizarre, don't you think? Here is the video for it. It'll play a normal speed and then a few slowed down speeds as well. But what we're looking at here is what the pilot captured, what he posted on Twitter, now known as X. And then again, the footage is still up online, but you can't find any record of this pilot. Twitter, gone, deleted. And so this obviously leads us to a lot of questions. And I know there are those that are considering, okay, is this kind of just like a setup? Is this leading up to Project Bluebeam, which has really been hyped a lot in the last, I would say, several months? So could it have been that he was silenced by the airplane line that he works for? Was he asked to shut it down? Or the more cynical kind of thinking is, was it placed there on purpose and then deleted? The account was deleted for attention, right? We can think about all the possibilities here. We don't have all the answers. And this topic is so difficult because there is so much disinformation, so many psyops as well. People can talk about Project Bluebeam, all of these different things. It's very convoluted. It's very hard to see and to think, okay, where am I leaning? What side of the fence am I going on here? And then on top of that, is it extraterrestrial, or is what they're classifying the news saying, guys, come on, it's just a drone, relax. You cannot relax if you are seeing a drone next to so many airplanes at the airport, and especially on that strip where the planes are using to get into the air and then back onto the ground. It's incredibly dangerous. So for just to casually say, guys, don't worry, it's just a drone. No, that's dangerous. Now, this reminds me of, and I want to go back to sharing my screen of the images because it reminds me of a handful of other accounts that have taken place over the last few years where UFOs have been seen near airports. The most recent one is this one, LaGuardia Airport in New York City back in 2024. And if you don't know about these cases, I got you, giving you a one sentence summary for each. So for this one, this is the woman that we're seeing on screen here is Michelle Reyes, who recorded footage of a flying cylinder near LaGuardia Airport, with the object spotted at approximately like 2,500 feet altitude during this landing approach. And this took the internet by storm. We covered it in detail. And I ended up doing a whole show on UFOs around airports. You can find that right here on this channel. I highly recommend it because it also talks about the UFO that was seen at the Chengde airport in China back in 2010, where a UFO was detected on radar and it caused the airport to temporarily close for about an hour, affecting around 20 flights. And then there's even a similar incident that took place in Mongolia during that same time frame. But we can even move this on over to another part of the world. People that say, you guys only cover UFOs in the US. Wrong. Lies. We cover international cases here, and when we're looking at UFOs in and around airports, it's happening all over the world. This one took place in Ireland, and what in 2018, where multiple airline pilots reported seeing very bright lights moving at extremely high speeds, with one British Airways pilot reporting an object moving so fast, while a Virgin aircraft pilot described seeing objects moving at astronomical speeds. And then the Irish Aviation Authority launched an investigation into the incident. It's always exciting to see different countries, how they address these UFO sightings, especially when it comes to pilots, because some countries are more accepting than others. For instance, Netherlands has just launched their kind of forum where pilots can talk about their UFO sightings, but there are many places that are very, very behind. AJ Raffles, thank you so much for the £5. It says Project Blue Ball. I see what you did there. That's a good one. And then Mark Tasaka, thank you so much for the $5. It says, Dear Christina, wishing you a wonderful Thanksgiving. Best wishes to you and your loved ones. Our Thanksgiving here in Canada is in October. Nice. I did know that, and I want to say thank you so much, everyone watching this after Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you had a good time for those living in the US. Otherwise, for the rest of you, just a regular Thursday, and I get that. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button right down below because we still have another UFO case that reminded me of this incident. And that is the one in Heathrow, the airport in London, where there was a UFO sighting in 2014, where an A320 Airbus pilot reported a near miss. Wow, scary. A near miss with a rugby ball shaped UFO at 34,000 feet, with the object passing within feet of the aircraft. When you're flying, okay, a meter, 10 meters is way too close. So having to be feet away from this aircraft, that's like touching the tip of your nose for pilots. Terrifying stuff. And then, of course, the most famous one, the O'Hare incident in 2006. I don't need to cover that one. I know so many of you are very familiar with that case, but as you can see here, what I'm really getting at is that this is nothing new. We've been seeing this for years. We're seeing it actually a lot more recently in the last, let's say, 10 years or so consistently these UFOs, these orb-type objects, are being seen in and around airports or very close to pilots as well. And the question is, why? What's going on? What's the purpose behind this? And I'm very excited to see that this latest report in Manchester is getting, I think, pretty good attention, at least across Twitter mainly, but the mainstream again is really capturing onto it, and we don't have an explanation. From my understanding, there were, people ended up attempting to speak to other agencies, and none of them are giving them an answer. But it's shocking because as soon as this happened, we're getting another incident also in the UK back on November 20th. And I'm going to just share an image here of that one because this is all happening, honestly, a lot faster than I anticipated. Because the United States Air Force has reported ongoing sightings of unidentified, guess the word I'm going to use, drones, but we're not really going to be talking about drones here, over 4 bases in Britain since November 20th, including the RAF Midland Hall, Feltwell, and Fairford, all the ones that we're seeing on screen right here. And while the Air Force maintains that these incursions haven't impacted base operations, as they usually don't, including facilities or residents, the situation has prompted a joint response from British and American authorities. Now, this is reminding me of the Langley Air Force Base incident that took place in December of last year that was reported by the Wall Street Journal just last month, where for, a week, 2 weeks, drones, and that's in quotation marks, were seen hovering over the Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, but they were just, it seemed like just monitoring. They weren't really interacting with the people or the equipment. So, and this is where it gets kind of tough because these military bases, it's really taboo actually, because they're not able to shoot down these drones if they're not posing a threat. If you shoot them down, causes this whole issue, maybe even war. If it's coming from a different country, you know what? It's actually a ton of BS, in my opinion. But there are protocols, there are rules, and you cannot shoot down drones over military installations unless they are posing a threat. But we're seeing this here in the UK yet again, and nothing is being done. They're only being observed. But over these 3-4 military bases since November 20th. Chris, thank you so much for the $5. And Clayton, thank you so much for the £5. It says RAF base in the UK are having these drones at Gatwick, had it also. I'm glad you caught that. It really is interesting to see that it's being talked about publicly. That's kind of where I'm surprised, honestly, is that we're actually getting news on this. They could have very easily kept this quiet, but they're not. Think about that. Why? Is it because we're getting ready for something? Like the media thinks that, you know what, maybe we're ready for this information? Because this, I cannot stress enough, this is nothing new. UFOs have been seen over military installations, especially nuclear facilities, since we've made them. And that news has been pretty buried. But recently, in the last month, 2 months, we're getting all this information. Why now? That's my question. Am I optimistic? Yes. Do I love this topic? 100%. But I'm also skeptical. Why are we getting the news now? And I think some of you can relate with that, can resonate with that. And yes, Colin, we've got no pictures of these drones being seen over these military installations in England yet. Might we? I hope so. That'd be really fantastic. So we can say, guys, it's not a drone. But as of right now, you are correct. We have no images whatsoever. And that's where it's disappointing. Truly, like, I'm a bit upset there that we don't have images. And also, the last thing I wanted to mention on this is that it was brought up to the Major General Patrick Ryder, excuse me, during a Pentagon press conference where reporters were asking him on this, and they're like, "Hey, what are you guys doing about this? What's going on? Can you even acknowledge this taking place?" And he did acknowledge the situation, stating that it is being taken seriously, but it has not significantly impacted missions, and they haven't ruled out the possibility of civilian activity. If those civilians get caught flying drones over military installations, that is a capital crime. Like that, prison for who knows how long. You cannot do that. So if it is a civilian, they're digging themselves a grave. It's not good. But we haven't caught anyone yet. We don't know who it is, if it is a person. Right now, they're being classified as drones, but we have no images, very little information, and really only what these mainstream media outlets are stating of like they're being seen across England. That's it. That's all we have right now. Now we got to find the military witnesses that I've seen it with their own eyeballs so we can ask them exactly what they saw, how they were moving around, and those people are knowledgeable on how drones move, how they work, if they make noise or not. I think at some point we might get some witness testimonies from those that have seen it across these several Air Force bases in England. At least that's my hope. I hope so. But moving on over, because I'm telling you, we're dealing with a lot of UFO news this time around. Here's another image of how close these Air Force bases are, as you can see on screen. And if you are listening to this on a podcast platform, that YouTube link is in the description box below. I highly recommend that you watch it because we will be sharing pictures and videos as well. Let me just take a look at that. Yes. Okay. But now we're getting into this one. This one's getting a lot of heat. And it's these UFO sightings that have been seen in DC. And we're going to talk about all of it, everything, because we want to put all of the information on the table and for you to make up your own mind on what you think is going on. Okay? So there was these recent sightings of 4 to 6 mysterious lights hovering over the US Capitol, Washington, D.C., over the building that have sparked this intense debate and potential UFO activity right here that we're seeing on screen. And the photograph captured by a U.S. Air Force veteran and licensed tour guide, Dennis Diggins, shows the lights arranged in a triangular formation directly above the Statue of Freedom atop the Capitol dome, again, that we're seeing on screen here. And the incident gained additional attention when other witnesses reported seeing similar sightings in the area, with one anonymous source claiming the lights have been appearing for over a week since November of 2015. Then, the Arrow office has provided no explanation for the phenomenon, according to the Daily Mail, with spokesperson Susan Goff directing inquiries to local law enforcement. So the Wall Street Journal said, no, sorry, the Daily Mail's asked Arrow, hey, do you guys know about this? And Arrow's like, no. And they were like, okay, Susan Goff, you're the number one woman when it comes to this. What can you tell us? And she's like, just ask law enforcement. Which is weird, which is, I think, very odd. If you have an answer, give an answer. If you don't, just don't, right? But obviously the timing of this when it comes to all of these things that we're covering today are significant, especially with these things in the sky being seen right after the congressional hearing. Now we're getting into this skeptical part, which I totally understand. There are people that are stating, guys, I mean, are you dumb? It's just the reflection. You're seeing here, I have a better image. Like this, okay? This is an image from John Greenwald Jr. From the Black Vault. He's like, guys, it's just a reflection. These are lens flares. Come on, keep it together. And in some ways, I can see that. But if you look at the video, you might have different thoughts on this. So I'm going to share that video while I continue giving you some information on this. Give me a moment, please. There it is. Okay. So because I feel like the pictures and the videos are giving two distinct pieces of information, at least to myself. When we're looking at this video, we're seeing these four lights, but then one disappears and then two more appear on the sides. And if we're dealing with light reflection, the angles can affect that. I get it. But maybe, just maybe, being a little bit too skeptical, and there could be something strange to this. But what do you think? Is it a conventional explanation, or is it something that we should consider as pretty mundane? I want to see. Jazz says, looks legit. Okay. Jane says, IDK, it's reflective lights. It's a possibility. Okay. Moon at Noon says, that's no flare. And then Jane says, why weren't there be lights all the time? This is a good point, because this anonymous witness that I'd mentioned online stating, I've been seeing this since November 15th. I feel like for all the local people that live in or around the area would see these more frequently with that exact same shape, right? Maybe. But you're also dealing with specific cloud cover as well. You need to have that in order to create these kinds of flares, these lights in the sky coming off from these lamps at the near bottom. So the weather has to be perfect, the clouds have to be perfect in order to create this naturally. But if it is UFOs, then it would be like, could we compare it to the UFO flap in 1952 over Washington, D.C., where jets were scattered to attempt and capture these objects and couldn't? Well, if these have been seen since November 15th, where are the jets? Where's the military? What's going on there, right? So it's a catch-22 for me. Like, I want to be optimistic and say, okay, maybe it could be something kind of extraordinary. But at the same time, if it's been going on for so long, I think that the locals would have reported some kind of military activity in the area to attempt and capture these things. Because even up until today, even though pilots have been attempting to race, capture, or who knows whatever else with these UFOs, these Foo Fighters, we've never been able to. Never, ever. Not even up until today that we know of publicly, right? So about this one, I have mixed feelings about it. But I got to ask you this question. What do you think about this? And I'm going to just put the image back up for you to see. Here it is. Nice. We're getting different angles of these lights seen in the sky. But I want to hear it from you, those watching this live. No Filter says, looks like Las Vegas airport, like that incident. That's interesting. Jazz says the one flashing red. I saw that too. There is that's like flickering, which the flickering part can also lead to clouds, but the red flickering, I'm with you. I found that a little bit odd as well in the video. Marty says, I lean towards UFOs. Wouldn't that be awesome? At the end of the year, it's you get Santa Claus and then you get UFOs. What else can we ask for this holiday season? Maybe a little bit of snow. That'd be nice. But aside from that, it is really interesting. I feel invigorated. I feel excited that we're getting all this UFO news. It makes me want to feel hopeful for the future of getting some sort of UFO disclosure, more conversations about this topic. Is it prepping us for something? Why is this information coming out now? Why is it being covered? It's very easy for the mainstream media just to not cover it. They don't have to, but they are. And I'm enjoying it, but I'm also a little hesitant as well as to why, their purpose, their reason. Jeffrey says, I'm a pilot and there's no way those are reflections. Good show, Xtina. Thank you. I usually don't chat, but those are not reflections. They individually travel. I like to hear from a pilot himself to tell us these things. I think it's very interesting, and thank you for that. And if you're enjoying the show, hit that like button right down below as well, and subscribe if you haven't already, as I do several shows right here every single week. Plus, hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of the videos that I post right here. You really don't want to miss my post so many. It's actually remarkable. Thunderstone says the pic may have been a reflection, but the video is not. Okay. So this is coming from the video. This is coming from a still image. And I feel like we're seeing a similar shape, but okay, actually, let me back this up. Let me show you this image. Okay, I thought I had it, but I don't. The Capitol building, it's way over here. It's like further than where my mouse is going. And then we're seeing these lights way to the left. I just found that odd as well. But I'm going to leave that up to you for you to make up your own mind on if you think these are lights in the sky like flares or lens flares or genuinely some kind of UFO that should capture our interest and keep our eyes on the skies. There's another one I want to cover with you. And this one, for those that watch my stuff, watch my short videos, you're familiar with this one already. News Nation had on a veteran police officer, Robert Klein, that we're seeing right here on screen. He was just on yesterday, and he was recounting his encounter that he had back in April of 2022, where he saw this incredibly bright light in the sky. And I love News Nation because in this particular interview that they did, they gave us a rendition of what he saw and then also showed the actual footage that policeman Clean had captured for himself, which I really liked the comparison of the two because I feel like your phone or like your basic digital camera doesn't give justice to these weird things that we see in the sky with our own eyeballs, but renditions can serve more true most of the time. So in this case, Robert Klein, he was on his midnight patrol. Put him up again. And then he ended up seeing this pulsating UFO in the sky. And it came out of nowhere. Now, this man has been in law enforcement for 25 years. He knows meteors, drones, airplanes, all that fun stuff. And he's like, no, what I saw was none of those things. And he had described that the object was the size of a Mini Cooper. Here's the rendition of how it looked, according to him. And he said that it was hovering just 30 feet from his patrol car near the Fairfield County Reservoir, which 30 feet is very close. Not incredibly close, but if you're dealing with an object that's the size of a Mini Cooper, which is like a nice small car, you're able to see decent details, right? And he had mentioned to News Nation that this was something that he's never come across before. And it emitted this intense color-changing light that temporarily blinded him. And he states, quote, "There was a strong light. It lit up the entire cab of my cruiser to the point where I was having a hard time driving because I couldn't see. I was blinded by it." And Klein noted that the object cycled through red, green, white, and orange colors with a plasma-like quality. And then it gave a low hum, which was very distinct. Now, while this is all taking place, he says, oh my gosh, I have to record this. I have to take pictures and videos of this. And so here's the original image that he took. This is the rendition of how he remembered it to look. But as you can tell, we're just seeing like a nice little candlelight in the background. That's how it looks. But to his eyes, he was seeing something more like this. Pulsating different colors, had this plasma-like quality to it. And he also mentioned that it instantaneously just moved across the water and he couldn't see it go from point A to point B. It just instantaneously went bam, bam, point A to point B, and he couldn't tell how it got there. And then in those moments, he's like, okay, time to take pictures, time to take videos. But he was sitting on this story for 2 years. And then he finally came out yesterday on Thanksgiving Day to tell News Nation his story. This is why I'm stating that this news of the week is so intense. It's so UFO rich, and I'm living for it. I am loving it, and I think you are as well. But also, why are we getting this news so late in the year? Why can't we have this fun stuff happen every single day, every time of the year? That's what I want to know. So it's a very serious question. And Jane's Coffee, thank you so much for the $20. I really appreciate that. And everyone watching this live as well. Have you heard of this case before? Again, it's new, but for those that follow UFO news religiously, right? Is this your first time hearing about it? Or a case similar to this? It's always interesting to hear policemen have their own encounters. I've also done an entire show on police encountering UFOs. Truly remarkable. And people lead credence to them because of their credible background, because of their trained eye, more so than maybe your Uncle Joe, which shouldn't always be the case. But in many instances, people tend to believe law enforcement a lot more when they've encountered something strange, very specifically a UFO sighting and or encounter. That is all of the UFO news for the week this time around. It really is interesting what we're seeing, and it's also remarkable to see these policemen talk about this publicly, really lending credence to their UFO sightings and encounters. And I got some big news for you. Oh, it's big news for the both of us, you and I. I made a new website. I just like that. I made a new website. It's CristinaGomez.co, not .com. You can see it on screen right here. And it's for breaking news from around the world about UFOs. About UFOs. Everything and anything you want to know that's happening right here, right now about UFOs, I got you with that new website at CristinaGomez.co. There is no H in Cristina, so it's just Cristina. Gomez. That I think I spelled my name wrong. It's Cristina Gomez Gomez.co. That will keep you up to date on all of the latest UFO news. You want to check it out? It's still in the works, but it is presentable. You should definitely see it. It's very exciting. I spent blood, sweat, and tears on that. And that is it for today. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button right down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit for that newsletter on the new website as well. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoy the strange and the mysterious, UFOs, the paranormal, and cryptids, this channel is for you. So make sure to subscribe, as I do 3 videos right here every single week, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of the bonus content I post right here.